podcasting, it was among the earliest tools that corporate communicators used to get the news out about social media. But in many respects, podcasting was eclipsed by video. At least we think it is. Today I'm talking to Neville Hobson, who with Shel Holtz is the host of FIR, For Immediate Release. Neville, it's really not true, is it, that podcasting is kind of passé?
No, I don't think it is, Mark, at all. And in fact, in our experience, we find that people like the kind of content that we can offer that gives them an alternative, gives them something that they see as authentic. One of the big appeals, the informality of what we do. But we're not alone. I mean, Shel and I may have started 7 years ago and we're still going strong, but as we showed in our presentation here in Amsterdam this morning, there are a good at least a dozen other communicators doing podcasting as well, and they're attracting great listenership. So it's far from a spent force, basically.
So anyone watching this who might be consider launching a podcast, either for a client or for themselves maybe, for their PR agency, what is the advantage of doing a podcast?
So the advantage of doing a podcast would be, apart from the fact that the barriers to entry to doing it in the first place are very low, almost zero, is it gives you an opportunity to present content, ideally compelling content, in a way that is different and will appeal to some people who like listening to radio. It also means you can give them something that they can do while they're doing something else. Mm-hmm. So you can listen to audio whilst you're driving,
working out,
walking the dog, reading another document, or writing a report. It's playing there. Sometimes it's kind of background. But we hear that's what people do. And so it's from that point of view, it's pretty good.
What is the cost of doing a podcast? It's so minimal, isn't it?
In reality, all you really need is a computer, and you've probably got one of those already. Invest maybe up to $50 on a good microphone, some free recording software, and you can do a podcast. You then need a place to store the MP3 files, and there's plenty of hosting services to do that. So you can be up and running with a podcast from your first episode being available for less than $100.
So what's the secret? Obviously it's content, right? The content is the heart of everything.
It is. Content is absolutely king in my view, but a close second to that king, a bit higher than the queen but below the king, would be the community enablement that you create. So you create a place for people to congregate online someplace that they can tell you what they think, and you listen to your listeners and incorporate them into your show, and over time you end up with something that people will come back to again and again.
How does FIR do that? How do you engage your community?
Partly I think it's the way Shel and I do it. It's kind of natural for us to reference people who ask questions. We will do that in the show and ask other people what they think of that, and people will respond to that. So people send in comments, we include that in every single show. We'll discuss those comments, so we involve the listeners that way. And we end up getting a constant stream of feedback for us that we incorporate into the show, so it becomes the listener show as well.
Well, thank you. You and Shel really provide the model for podcasting and what it can do for your career and for you and for your listening audience.
Well, thanks
a lot, Neville.
My pleasure. Thanks.